Today's First Alert afternoon weather update is brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.
Good afternoon, First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips joining you from our First Alert desk. We are going to be talking about the forecast and keeping an eye to the tropics, as well as those are fairly active for us. So we are going to find that though it's quiet here in mid-Michigan, as I had mentioned, we have a hurricane, a tropical storm. So those have been a little bit busier for us. So we are going to be looking at our conditions that do allow for us to find a little more of a quiet forecast here. We do have high pressure that's in place. I am actually going to start though here with a look at our National Hurricane Center website. So this resource, of course, the forecasters there have been watching these two systems. We've also been talking about them here locally at the First Alert desk last week. We've been watching them here for a while now. So these are still continuing to develop and to push through. So we do have, as you can see, Umberto, and then we also have Tropical Storm Imelda. So those two systems are coming in. We'll even kind of look at the path here of Umberto, because that's going to kind of come around a little bit further north and then take kind of a right-hand turn. And the interesting thing with that is also going to then affect Imelda as that starts to get going. Umberto is a little bit stronger compared to Imelda, so it is going to actually kind of suck that in. You can see kind of a similar trajectory. It doesn't go as far north, but it does kind of take a little bit of a right-hand turn for us. So as we watch these two systems, you are going to see here, got to pull up some of our graphics, but we are going to be looking at a forecast that is nice and bright here locally. I want to pull up here some of my information, so that's going to be a little more helpful for us to be seeing what we have going. So we are going to be finding that we have sunshine here in mid-Michigan, so it's a beautiful afternoon. We haven't really seen a lot of cloud cover, and that is a welcome sign for us, but we are going to continue to track and see that we are going to be looking at a little bit of cloud cover here for the middle of the week, so we'll be monitoring that coming up in the forecast. But overall, our conditions, you are going to see that hurricane Humberto, so that's going to be headed out. It is still a Category 4 storm at this time, and it is expected to weaken as it goes out into the Atlantic. But you can see both of these are fairly close to one another. Actually, just going real quick over the hurricane stats here. The winds have been around 140 miles per hour. We're seeing the gusts around 175, so that's kind of when those winds pick up. But it is 320 miles southwest of Bermuda. That's where that storm is located. Then our second storm is a little bit closer towards Florida. It doesn't seem to be making potentially too many impacts. I do have the spaghetti plots on here, and we'll just kind of hop in, but you can kind of see, even just looking at the shapes, that our storm on the right, so that's going to be the Hurricane Humberto, that is out here. That's a little bit stronger, and it's not just because of scale, but it's just because of pressure. I was looking at pressure that was around 160 millibars, to where then our storm that's just off the coast of Florida, that pressure has been about 30 millibars difference. Millibars is just a unit of measurement that meteorologists are using when we're talking storm chances, but our storm pressures, that is. But you are going to see that our storm here on the right-hand side is a little bit stronger compared to our other one. Also, the one on the left is not really organized. You can see those outer bands not even having as well formed and unified shape as what we're seeing here on our hurricane. So we do anticipate kind of those cells to take a right-hand turn. I'm going to take this forward in time and then zoom out here so you can kind of see the path on where this will take. So with those hurricane being a little bit stronger than the tropical storm, we are going to find that that is going to kind of suck that storm in. Now, it's not going to completely suck in and become a strong storm in this case. We are, because they are very kind of close in pressure, still going to see them as two separate cyclones, but you are going to find that the momentum and the direction that we have from the hurricane is going to kind of just let the tropical storm kind of rotate around, and then it's going to pull it across as it goes into the Atlantic. So that's why we are watching for these to be coming in. Actually, let's see here if I can bring Imelda's track. So definitely a little bit different. Some of that is because of that pivot and as that's going to be coming around the hurricane. So just looking at both of these here, the kind of northerly pull. And also the other thing that's also interesting is that these are going to be having to play with the high pressure that's in place. That's why it was so nice over the weekend. That's why it's still sunny today, is because we are going to be seeing that our hurricanes are going to have to kind of work with high pressure. So when that's a little bit further north, we have these hurricanes towards the south. That is kind of where we see a setup to where we can have our winds that start to pick up because we have these two systems, but also can kind of push those out. Looks like that satellite data doing a little bit of a load here. So just to kind of keep in mind, we'll see if we can populate that satellite back up. So just to kind of look here at what we have high pressure kind of over us, and then that's going to be sliding in. So it is going to be competing with those storms here. So though we do have some cloud cover for the middle of the week, it's actually not going to be from the tropics. We're actually going to be seeing that from the central plains. But we are going to take a real quick break before we hop into that local forecast. So make sure you stay with us. We're going to be right back with a look at that. Welcome back. There we go. So taking a look at our local forecast here, we've been enjoying the sunshine and we're going to continue to see some sunny skies as we go here through the beginning of this week, but it will change midweek. We are going to find that we have cloud cover coming in for Wednesday, Thursday, and then we do rebound on Friday, but we will see that with high pressure around, we're actually going to be pulling some cloud cover from the central plains. I'm also going to be watching at what cloud height that is because it could be a little bit higher up, and that is going to allow for us to then see conditions that do allow for it to be a little bit thinner in the cloud coverage department, or at least allow us to get some sunshine through. So even though it does kind of drop down into like that darkest gray color, I'm hoping to keep mostly cloudy skies out of play, at least allow some sun to shine through those clouds that we have. But overall, still a beautiful week, not a lot of rainfall. So even though we do have the clouds midweek, if you are in the market for some water, it's going to be a pretty tough order to get that into the forecast. Even as we look at cloud cover today, you may see a cloud. Not a lot, as just our chances here this afternoon going into the evening sit at about 5% cloud cover. So that means plenty of sunshine is going to be here. Even as we go into the evening, we do start to lose that cloud cover, so it will be another clear night. It will allow temperatures to drop back into the 40s. We will see that it's just kind of cooler when we don't have the cloud cover at night. It's like when the blanket slides off of you while you're asleep and then you start to get cold. Kind of the same thing for planet Earth. When we don't have the cloud cover, then we start to get a little bit cooler on the ground level. When we look at the hour-by-hour forecast, you'll see not a lot of clouds even being picked up in the data. So as we kind of advance forward, not a lot happens because we just don't have the cloud cover. We just don't have a lot going on. But we will see going during the overnight, we do have the chance for a little bit of patchy fog to develop. So I have seen this a little bit closer to the thumb. I've also seen it along 75. I've also seen it kind of west of the bay. So I'm going to have that fog chance in for everybody. Thankfully, the intensity of it does not look all that strong. Still some patchy fog possible, and you may have some spots that are a little bit more dense than others, but hopefully we don't have a widespread foggy morning. Of course, First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro, he will have that visibility map tomorrow morning on TV5 Wake Up. So that'll start at 4:30 in the morning. So make sure you are checking in with him before you head out the door. Once that fog burns off mid-morning, we are going to see another quiet forecast for your Tuesday. Plenty of sunshine. So if you're going to be outside once again, make sure you have that sunscreen ready to go. It will be a little bit cooler. We have seen our temperatures today that have been a little more summer-like. Tomorrow, it'll be still above average into the low to mid 70s. So it's still going to be feeling quite mild, but we will find that our temperatures are actually going to be trending down. We'll talk about that. But you can see here coming into Wednesday, we do have some of those clouds that are going to start to set up for us. There are still some breaks that are going to allow for some sun to come through, but we will find that we do look at those clouds coming in, and that can also hinder some of our temperatures as that gets closer. Looking at some of the foggy conditions that we have. So this is our visibility map here for tomorrow morning, and you can see it just kind of has that fog rotating around. So that's going to be something that we have to watch for out the door, and specifically some of our locations. So as I had mentioned, kind of watching that here along 75 and even getting a little bit closer to the thumb. I've seen some of that. So the Tri-Cities, I would definitely be keeping an eye to visibilities tomorrow morning, because that could slow you down out the door. It doesn't look to be all that dense in every area, but you still may find visibilities drop down to about a mile or two. So that, of course, can have anybody slowing down on our roadways. So be cautious while you're there. We didn't have really enough moisture this morning to get that fog going, but we are going to see that we have still no moisture in the forecast. When you need to do some yard work, you're going to have plenty of dry days ahead to do that. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You get the idea that we don't have rainfall in our 7-day forecast. So we are going to have plenty of time. If you already have that tree that's dropping leaves, you can go and just maybe mulch up the leaves with the lawnmower, so to save yourself a little bit of raking here, but we do have drier weather for you. Highs, as I had mentioned, still going to be summer-like. We're going to be seeing those into the upper 70s today, and then we do have those temperatures dropping. So 73 tomorrow, and then 70 degrees by Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised if even some of us on Wednesday do not get out of the upper 60s, so that's going to be a little bit more fall-like for us, but it doesn't last. You can see we actually rebound pretty quick on Thursday into the mid-70s, and then we're flirting with 80 degrees by Friday, so we are going to find yet another warm weekend for mid-Michigan. So if you're hoping, with it being the first weekend in October, to go and maybe do the corn maze or the pumpkin patch or the cider mill, it's not going to be all that cool, but there's still plenty of fun to be had with a dry forecast this weekend. Looking at our temperatures, we are going to find that we have current readings that are going to be into the upper 70s. Owasso, Lapeer are already at 81. We do still have our lakeshore counties and communities that are sitting into the 60s, but we have 77 in Bad Axe, 72 in Caseville, 77 in Caro. We're at 78 in Gladwin, also in West Branch, 75 in Houghton Lake, and Clare is at 80 degrees. So a little bit of a mix here on the map, but either way, this is very warm for September standards. Typically, our highs would be into the lower 70s at this point in the season. Now tonight, I had mentioned that we will lose that cloud cover, so our temperatures are going to be cooling back out into the 40s. We may have some locations along 75. You can see Flint, Saginaw trying to hold on to the 50s, but here into our northern counties and the thumb, we definitely anticipate seeing some 40s. We will continue to see the clear skies, so with it kind of cooling out for us, we'll watch that. Another thing to note is where we have those 50s, that can allow us to get pretty close to that dew point number. So that is what we're going to be watching for fog development. So just keep in mind that temperatures are going to be a pretty big driver when we're talking about fog tomorrow morning. As promised in that 7-day forecast, we do have a big warm up on days 6 and 7. I'm going to kind of just jump ahead here to the weekend, because I was talking about all the fall fun activities that we want to do here for the month of October, and you are going to see plenty of sunshine for your Saturday and Sunday plans. 83 by Saturday, 80 degrees by Sunday. If you're going to the corn maze, take your water bottle with you. It can get hot in there just because you can't always pick up a breeze because of the corn stalks being well above your head. So just be prepared that you're going to want a t-shirt and shorts and a water bottle if you're going to be hunting around the maze. We do find, though, that it's a little bit cooler here midweek because of the cloud cover. Still going to be keeping those some sun into the forecast. And just a reminder that we do have that patchy fog chance tomorrow morning. Even overnight lows, you will find for some of our more inland locations, we'll still have some 50s, but 40s for everybody still to be possible Wednesday and Thursday night. So as those afternoon temps drop, we do see that drop also coming into the evening. But overall in this forecast, it's very warm. It's still kind of summer-like outside, and there's not a lot of water. So if you are in need of some water, we are going to struggle with that. Of course, our drought monitor shows that everybody at least has some sort of dry, if not drought, going on. So it doesn't look like we're really going to get much help here in the next 7 days. Of course, keep an eye to the First Alert Weather app, because that is going to be a pretty helpful tool here for you to have all the latest information. So make sure you have that downloaded on your phones. You can get that on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. It is free to download, so get that. I know it's a pretty quiet forecast, but there's still some good info. Even over the weekend when the International Space Station was flying over, if you had the app, then you were able to get the reminder to head outside and get a look at that. So again, scan that QR code. If you already have the app, just make sure that you're updated to the latest version and keep an eye to your first alert forecast. Thank you to everybody for joining me today. Of course, those replay capabilities are at WNEM Facebook and YouTube pages, and then you can also stream us tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We will be back talking about the first alert forecast then, and of course, we'll be at WNEM.com, the TV5 News app, the WNEM Facebook and YouTube pages. We also have our Android and Apple, Roku, and Fire Stick channels that you can watch us on. So if you have any of those devices for streaming, make sure you download the WNEM app so that you can hop into our live streams once you're in the application. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you have a wonderful afternoon. Get outside, enjoy the sunshine, but don't forget your sunscreen.
Thank you for joining us. Today's stream has been brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.